Welcome guys, today to this video I'm gonna talk about something basically that is for the people who are totally black-pilled in the fitness industry. Sometimes I like obviously to pull out some things that I don't believe are true or that are against what I believe is true to make it easier for naturals to believe things that they might not believe, or just gym people who are starting. One of the goals of this channel is obviously always to keep telling naturals that they probably can do much more than what they think. And today I wanted to come back to a video of Greg Doucette that was a while ago, something that I've written in my notes of something that I should probably make a video about, and that was the video about Jack Heafford. So this guy is a British guy who is friend of the Joe Fazer guy. They made a video where they showed this guy, Jack, to make basically a 2-3 months video of his improvements, basically starting the gym. There were a lot of reactions when they showed the final results of the guy, and big YouTubers like Greg Doucette or other people basically being absolutely shocked at the results of the guy, and basically saying that he was on something like SARMs because it's not possible that he got this type of results. And so obviously me, who's been spending a lot of time in the gym and observed a lot of naturals and been always invested in natural bodybuilding and having my own progression, which I consider to be fast, not fast out of luck, but of, hard work, I was not particularly impressed. I thought the transformation was very good, but I wasn't about to say the transformation was something that was attained through SARMs, like so many people did in some Greg Doucette video comment section or this type of stuff. So I want to come basically to the transformation of the guy, comparing the two pictures that we've been given. Obviously this Jack guy is very lean for a start. I'm not sure he's that tall as well, but I might be wrong. But obviously from the picture, you can tell that he's probably not that tall. And so someone who starts the gym, who is not that tall, who is very lean, has a lot of chances to put on some muscle. Obviously there is less length in the muscle. We know that a lot of guys who are quite short look stocky quicker, look bigger quicker, and so that could be why Jack, for example, got pretty jacked, or seemed to have got pretty jacked in a pretty short amount of time. But also he's very lean, and so any muscle as a beginner in the beginner phase they will put will be quite visible. Jack also might have some sportive past, and having some sportive past when you're a kid later on can help you out as well for building muscle, especially if this sport might be anything like conditioning, like for your athletics, and you go running, etc., you do push-ups. Like you might have got into some sort of pre-conditioning before starting this, which was maybe 2 years ago or whatever, when it was younger, like swimming, who knows. There might be a tiny bit of muscle memory there, or just obviously working when he was younger through other muscles and built neural connections, and these reappear again, and muscle cells reappearing again, muscle memory here involved as well. I think what's the other thing that shocked people that weren't about the muscle that he built was the performances that he brought to the table, which I do find pretty impressive, to be honest. It's true, but as well his body morphology could be one that allows him to lift pretty heavy weight, although for a beginner. And again, you have pretty strong guys for a start, you have other guys that aren't as strong. Jack might be in this category of people who have pretty are pretty strong for a start. And for the 3 big lifts like squat, deadlift, and bench press, as we know, when you're starting as well, you're obviously nervous, like your nervous system is really not quite there yet, and so you're really not used to the movements. So obviously if he started training, the first sessions were probably a bit dodgy and shaky when he was using the bars or anything. And we all know that the first session aren't really the true strengths that you have, and you have to give it a few weeks before the true strengths that you have. And once you get used to the movement and the nervous system gets used to all this, you have your true strengths. So although, for example, on the first video, he could bench press something and it looked like a struggle, his real strength was probably more than this. He just needed to get used a bit to the movement.
Start of the journey.
Nice.
Up. Nice.
These were Jack's warm-up maxes at the start of the journey.
So the improvement that is quite big when you see, a certain amount of the bench press, and then 2 months later you see 20 kg more on the bar, is not surprising. And guys, coming back to the video while editing it, I've just watched that video that I'm putting on the screen right now, and that was like a year after the guy didn't gym. And you can literally see that all I'm saying in this video really makes sense, because he barely lost any strength on all his lifts, his best PRs after his 100-day transformation. So the guy already had this strength within him. He didn't really improve. He put on a bit of muscle. He's taken picture with the pump because he's so lean, the muscle could be seen straight away, the little gains that he made. And that's all there is to understand about this guy's transformation. See, the guy has a strong squat. I haven't analyzed him or anything, but perhaps again his body morphology is there. He doesn't have much distance. He's a pretty short guy, so it's not impossible that the guy squats that much. I've seen people in the gym who barely touched the weight before and are impressively strong, and others who are actually quite well built, and aren't that strong but pretty well, mostly because they gym pretty well, they're pretty lean, and so they have a decent physique. But obviously, strength again is very subjective to people, and you can be very strong on one movement and not another because you have the morphology with short segments, etc. So strength doesn't really mean anything. Overall strengths need to be calculated through a lot of movements that you would do and compared to like other people with obviously weight category, etc. But obviously someone can be very strong on a bench press and not that strong on a deadlift. Comparing strengths really doesn't make any sense. And here in the case of Jack, you obviously think that his strength gains and his natural strengths can be impressive, but we haven't seen all his lifts. Maybe there's some lifts where he's not that strong. Maybe he's not that strong on triceps. I don't know. Maybe he's not that strong on some rowing, but on the deadlift he's good because he's got long arms and maybe pretty short legs, and so he can pull easily. All of these things, we didn't have them, and so we can't really say just because he's squatting 120 after 2 months that that's cheating or he took SARMs. Like, anything is possible today. A lot of people are greedy, but I don't think these two guys are, or like this Jack guy, is silly enough to take SARMs, 2 months transformation. But maybe, that's what we do today. A lot of people do that, and that really sucks. But what we hear today is always claiming, oh, this guy is on something, although the guy hasn't really done such a huge transformation, and always calling someone being on something just because he showed something to be pretty impressive is very annoying. So obviously the last thing that I want to bring, besides the fact that he's put some decent muscle, because he's lean, he's pretty short, so that makes sense. Also he's training pretty well. At the time I don't think Joe Fazer was the most knowledgeable guy. I think his physique is definitely got better, but he still has decent advice, and so the guy started as well with decent advice from the start. And so obviously it's not too surprising that in the beginner phase he puts on muscle, being that lean, pretty short, with good advice. Then I talked about the strong lifts. He's pretty strong, and I already discussed why. Now the last thing I want to discuss is the lighting, the pump. Imagine he's put on a bit of muscle and compare obviously to the first day for all the reasons that we discussed, and then he puts himself under some lights after some pumpy training, for example, not breathing for like 20 seconds and then flexing. Obviously you look bigger, and it's just one shot, and if he actually did this the first day, like flexing and this kind of stuff with the pump, he might have not have looked so much different than the last picture of the last transformation picture. And so, just like my Tom Holland video that I made some time ago saying, Tom Holland, his transformation for Spider-Man was natural, here I'm making the same. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, because there is that very, very small, I think in this case, chance that I might not be. But in most of the cases, seeing this type of transformation on him or anyone else, I will believe the guy is natural, because there is nothing that impressive about it. And you have to take to consider all the factors that I've just explained here. And I've seen people put on muscle pretty fast as naturals, and having very impressive transformation after just 2 months, because you could see the results, because the guy was very lean, pretty short, etc. I've had a good friend of mine who I was teaching, bodybuilding. He's pretty short guy, very lean, and maybe, perhaps, but I don't believe so much, what we could call, good potential to put on muscle pretty quickly, like good genetics. But again, I don't believe it was especially the case for him. The guy was just very lean for a start, probably had like some sportive past with some swimming. And the guy had an impressive, I mean, in terms of aesthetics, very nice after 2 months. And so the Jack transformation didn't impress me this much in that regard. And so this video is just to say that if you're one that believes that the Jack guy wasn't natural after these 2 months, I'm making this video to tell you that, cut this shit out of your mind. And, these black pill guys in the comments saying that it's impossible, let them alone and start doing your bodybuilding journey the right way, your natural bodybuilding journey the right way, by following the right people. Stick for 2 months, 3 months if you're a beginner to some intelligent training, and you will see yourself that you will get some really great results. So that's the only thing I could say today for you. Another video explaining that natural bodybuilding can bring you great results as long as you know what you're doing. Don't get caught up in the bullshit, and if you're tired of this, well, stay to this channel and follow other good natural bodybuilding channels. So I hope you enjoyed this video, cutting the bullshit, and I will see you very soon for a new one. Take care of yourself, feel free to share, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.